everyone. I thought I'd give you a change of scenery since I've been videotaping out of my car for a month, maybe two. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Debbie and I live at the beach, and I'm 66 years old. When I tell people that, they call me a liar, but I'm not lying, okay? I was born in 1955, and I grew up in Winchester with no running water, of course no bathroom. If you don't have running water, you don't have bathroom. I grew up riding bareback at 5 years old on a horse. If we got hungry, we went out and killed what we needed. My mother cooked on a wood stove. We had to pump our water out of a well in the backyard, and she had a cow that she milked every day, and this cow usually kicked her. She was always covered in bruises, I remember. My father had a cockfighting rink. If you don't know what that is, you're probably better off. It's where you fight chickens, roosters, okay? And they have these sharp little spurs, and my father was 6'4½", and he had his own professional cockfighting rink. And I remember working the snack bar, I kid you not, at like 5 years old. So let me take a drink of this Diet Coke. This is one of my addictions. I do have addictions. I'm addicted to lotion and Diet Coke. So cheers. Go get you some lemonade or something. Okay, I have two children. One's 47, one is 45, a girl and a boy. They grew up in a place called the Northern Neck, and if you don't know where that is, if you look at the state of Virginia, there's this little peninsula that comes out. They got Northumberland, King William, Lancaster, Middlesex, Westmoreland. They grew up there. They grew up on the water, and they spent their days catching crabs, and we lived in a very protected neighborhood where they could actually walk around. Back then there was not as much crime or violence as there is today. And they've always grown up around animals. I love animals, and I recently started loving birds. Do you hear them? I had a batch of babies earlier this spring, and then I got a new batch of babies just the other day. Let's see. I first started my career with the police department in Fairfax, and then when I moved to the Northern Neck, I became a deputy sheriff, and I took police science in college. I also graduated at the top of my class at the police academy. I also went to college also in Melbourne, Florida, Brevard Community College. We moved down there for a little while. Let's see, and then I started a tree company back in 1976. It's still in business to this day. And I had bought a fleet of trucks with my name only. And so my ex-husband, I pretty much gave him the business. I signed over all the titles to him. I just wanted out of the marriage after 40 years. I still care about him greatly. What else can I say? So our tree company's always been pretty successful. It still is. And so let's see. But before we moved to Florida, I had a dress shop. I love clothes. I'm a clothes horse. Anybody who knows me knows I can wear a new outfit every day for probably 3 years. I'm getting ready to purge a lot of that, okay? Because now that I'm older, I realize it's all about comfort, not so much about style. But when I do, I've never left my house without makeup. I never will. People would not recognize me. I have a best friend who lives in Dumfries. She's been my friend since 7th grade. We immediately got a connection. And we're two hard-ass females, very independent. We both had our cars at 16, and we bought them ourselves. We didn't depend on anybody else to buy them for us. I've always worked. I've worked since I was 15 and a half, and so is she. And so when I wasn't running the tree company, I was, you know, a deputy, and then I started my own dress shop, which was, I did pretty good with it. Yeah, all of the people, then they would drive for an hour just to get to my dress shop. It was a wonderful way to turn my hobby into a business, right? So now I've started a new career in pharmacology, and it's a lot of studying involved. So I've decided not to get off the dating sites and not date. It's not a good thing for someone my age, because I don't know if I'm too picky or if the guys are just bad, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on. But it just seems like I've talked about this too much, so I don't want to get into that. But yeah, I'm going to devote the rest of my summer into studying. It's a lot of nurses. Like my sister who passed, she was an RN. She had to take the same classes that I'm taking now, and it lets me know just how smart she was. When I was in high school, I didn't know I was smart until I got to college, and I made A's without trying, you know. I had a 3.8 all through my college. But yeah, I don't have my parents anymore. My daddy died at 67, just 1 year older than me. He was more handsome than Elvis Presley, and my mother died about, I guess, 6 years ago. She had what's called Sundowners and Parkinson's. That's the same thing that Michael J. Fox has. I remember her, she started shaking her head, and we knew something wasn't right along maybe 20 years ago. So it had been with her. But the Sundowners, when the sun goes down, she would get depressed and a little bit agitated. So yeah, so I've lost my parents and a sister. Now I have 2 sisters left and a brother, and my brother is just a very big part of my life. You can tell, you know how you can tell Donnie and Marie are brother and sister? You can tell my brother is my brother. Just if you saw us together, you would know. My life is wonderful now. It is filled every day with learning. Let me tell you, you should never stop learning, never. But a lot of these guys on the dating site, I actually hid my profile because I've got to concentrate on my career. A lot of the guys would ask me, what do you want in a guy? And please don't laugh when I give you this list. But I want a guy that has a home. Is that too much to ask for somebody my age? I want a guy that has a car, a halfway decent car. It doesn't have to be a new car. I will not get on a motorcycle. I've lost too many friends to motorcycle accidents. I want a guy that asks questions about me and wants to get to know me, and it's not all about him. I want a guy that doesn't have a criminal record. I can understand maybe something when you were a teenager, but no, nothing recent. Oh my God. The last guy I dated, the first thing out of his mouth was, I guess you're going to check my record, aren't you? Oh my God. Okay, so I want a guy that's got enough as a career. He can still be working, but he has to have any decent job's going to give you time off to take a vacation. I want a guy that can go on a vacation with me, which means he's got to have a passport, which means you probably have to have both COVID shots, right? Yeah, I think if I ever go on a date again, I'm going to ask him for a CDC card. Let's see, what else do I want in a guy? I want him to have meticulous hygiene. I don't particularly like bald men, even though there is a couple that movie stars like, oh God, like Kojak, what was his name? Some guys that are bald can be very sexy, but more so than not, I like a guy that has hair that I can run my hands through it. I want a guy that has the same energy level as me. Now, I have a lot of brand new body parts, but there's a lot of guys who have new body parts and they can't even keep up with me, you know, and I'm like the bionic woman now. So you got, when you girls start dating, you got to find somebody that has your same energy level, your same spunk. I do like a guy that is humorous, but I know some guys that can be so funny that they're ridiculous. No, you got to be serious sometimes. He's got to be a good kisser. Kissing is very important to me. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't like men that are, I don't know. I've never dated a really tall guy. I think my ex-husband was like 5'10". But when I was in high school, I always gravitated to the shorter guys. He always seemed to be cuter, don't you think? And I think if you haven't dated anybody that's ever been out of the country, they're really lacking in some culture, because until you've been out of the country and experiencing other cultures, they lack that little bit. Because until you've seen a third world country and how people really live, you know, you really don't know what's going on in the world. I like a guy that is well-read, that understands what's going on in the world, but not one that throws the political advocates at me or the religion nuts. Like the guy I went on a date with the other day, he told me he was like a deacon in a church, and then the rest of the time he was telling me about his criminal record and all the bad things he does, and he was cussing like a sailor. You see how it did not fit the picture, people. So yeah, I've always lived on the water. I like that. So what else can I say? I still pretty much am a size 12. I've lost, I think, about 10 pounds of my pandemic weight. I'm very happy about that. And what else? I love birds and I love gardening, but right now I only have maybe 5 plants at the moment, but I've always had a garden when my kids were little. Yeah, when my kids grew up, they didn't have laptops or cell phones or anything like that. So I hope that's to let you know a little bit about me. I've been on YouTube for 13 years, and it seems like only like a handful of my videos have gone viral, which is kind of cool. But it seems to be always about the clickbait, the titling or whatever. Let's see. I used to drag race. I used to drag race a lot on the highway and at the track. And don't do that, people. It's too dangerous now. It's too congested on highways now, so don't do that. I know how to operate a bush hog. I know how to operate a chipper. Stump grinder. I've had all that. I owned a tree company. I know how to run a very successful business because I did. I set up the office so it pretty much ran itself. All you had to do was answer the phone, and you know. I remember doing Hurricane Isabel. I made $64,000 in 1 week, and that was with cash. Yeah. I remember I took 2,000 phone calls, and the newspaper in Fredericksburg, Virginia interviewed me, and I had blisters on my ear. They really did. At that time, I was the only female-owned tree company back then, and I've been wrote up in a lot of publications. I also helped my ex-husband get his A&P license. It's airframe and power plants. So he worked at Dulles Airport on airplanes. He went from bottom of the list to the top. He's extremely smart. He's like a genius. My son also is very, I had him tested and they said he had a genius with his hands. I don't know that terminology. And then my daughter was tested when she was in 4th grade, and she has a very high IQ. So my children are very, very smart. And I guess that they got it from both my husband and myself. So I guess I've talked enough. And you all have a good night, and I will say goodbye.